2003 Mercedes E320 radiator replacement. I'm Brian Esser from How To Automotive. I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to start by racking the vehicle up and getting the lower shields underneath the car off. So now I got it up in the air. I'm going to go ahead and remove the two shields. I'll remove this shield first, and then I'll remove this one. And these just have 8mm bolts in the corners. Follow it around and just take those out, and the shield will come off. And then you'll just follow this shield around. So you'll follow it around the perimeter and take out whatever clips or bolts that may be holding it in. A lot of times these are held on over the years with zip ties and all kinds of stuff. So whatever's holding yours on, go ahead and remove it. While the vehicle's up in the air, you can go ahead and turn the petcock out, loosen it, and you can start draining it. And then what you can do is on the right side of the radiator here, and the passenger side, I'm sorry, you can take a hook tool, a pick tool, and take these little clips out, and take the transmission cooler lines off the radiator. So you're gonna have to have some buckets ready to catch the fluid that drains out. And then there's one, if you follow this line up, this line is a coolant line that goes to the reservoir bottle up top. So you can go ahead and same style. It has a clip here, a little further up on there, and then just above that is the second transmission cooler line, which, see if you can see it. It's up here. Just same thing as this one here. Just remove the clip, pull the hose out. So once you got the hose out, then you can reach around back with a pick tool, and you can pick the little clips off, and then once those are out, then you can pop the hose off. But I would definitely wait till it at least drains out 90% of the coolant out of this port here, because if you take this hose off right now, it's going to rain coolant on you. So now that this main the coolant hose that goes to the reservoir bottle is popped off, you can see up in here. Now you can get to the top transmission cooler line a lot easier and pop that one off. So also on the front of the radiator, or the bottom of the radiator I should say, this little plastic cover here, if you look from the back side, just rained on, there is a couple of clips right here. You can pop those out and take this little plastic cover. Now I got the vehicle back down on the ground. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the air snorkels here on the left and right side of the air cleaner here. Just take them completely off. And now I'm gonna go ahead and remove the clips that hold the upper and lower radiator hoses on. This is the upper hose here on the driver's side, so I'll pop this clip up, pull the hose off, and come over here on the passenger side, pop the clip, pull the hose off, and go ahead and on the electrical fan here, you can go ahead and squeeze the squeeze tab and disconnect the electrical connector and kind of flip it up out of your way. So next I'm going to grab this molding right here on the front of the radiator and pull it off and kind of just flip it up in. You don't have to take it all the way off, just flip it from about there to about there, and then just flip it inside. So now we need to focus on getting this core support out. So what we're going to do is we need to get these little clips here. They're on the left and right side off. And the way we do that is you take your fingers and you twist it counterclockwise and rotate it, and it'll twist up. And once you get it about yay far out, or actually mine just came all the way out, you can squeeze the tab, and you're going to at the same time you squeeze it, you're going to twist it like this, so it'll look like this one on this side here already done. So I squeeze the tab and twist it, and you're going to leave it like that at 90 degrees. So now that you got those turned like that, now we're going to start removing the 10mm bolts. So we're going to remove this one, this one, this one, and then we're under here, under the bracket. It goes down to the front. There's two of them that come from this way. So there's going to be a 10 here and a 10 here. Remove that, and you remove the same, all the 10s on this side. When you take these bolts out, you don't need to take out the bolts for the latches here, just the bolts on the core support. And then you want to pop the little clip up here and take this little rubber strip off that goes over here. Take that off, and then once you got that all done, then you can lift the core support out. Also, this rubber grommet part routes underneath the core support too. So you also have to pop the clips out here and here, and then the rubber grommet underneath will pop off. Okay, now the ones you get the cable, the core support up. This is that grommet I was talking about underneath. You need to pop the cable off, and they just have these little tabs right there, and you just see if I can do it for you on camera, is you push it towards the front like that, and it'll unhook. Now you can go ahead and remove it. Now I went ahead and finished removing these little clips that hold the radiator into the core support out, and they just pull straight up after you're done. And then just set them aside over here. So now we need to get this air duct system part of it out of it, and the way we do that is on the left and right side right here. There's a clip here, so you're going to pop that off here, and then right underneath the horn here, there's a clip there too. And you can take the 10mm bolt here from the bracket on the horn, and you can just maneuver. You don't have to unplug it or anything, maneuver it out of your way. Now once you get those clips out, you can just kind of pull it out and work it out of the car. And you want to be very careful with this stuff. This stuff is really brittle. So now we're going to take the fan shroud out. And the way we do that is we need to get on the corners here. We need to get this clip. There's a clip here and a clip over here on this side. And the way I got it out was I used it's a large hose pick tool, and I just kind of slid it underneath there and used the actual pick tool to rotate it backwards and pull out. You can use probably a Phillips or a flathead screwdriver. Would probably work just as well, and then pop the clips off left and right side. And now earlier we had already unplugged the fan, so now we can make sure that none of the hoses are routed through it like this. We'll pop them off if they are, and you can lift the fan straight out. So now we need to get the AC condenser disconnected from the radiator itself. So on the left and right side of the radiator, you just take these little tabs here, these little plastic tabs on the radiator, and you squeeze them. And then when you squeeze them, then you would pull the radiator or the condenser off the radiator. So after you squeeze the tabs here, so you'll do that. So what I like to do is like to do one corner at a time. So I'll do this corner, and I'll come over here and do this corner, and then the power steering cooler is attached to it too. And the same thing down a little bit below here, you just squeeze these little tabs like this, and then as you can see, that one came off pretty easily. And you'll do that over here too. Yeah, it has one here too. And then we'll get, so there'll be one here, and then the cooler here, and the cooler here, and then we'll go lift the car back up, and we'll have another squeeze tab just like this one here on the condenser a little below here. It's easier to get to it from below. Actually, the ones below here, it only has to the condenser only has the ones here and here, and then the fan has, or the power steering has, like I said, are the ones up here. The air duct system here that goes, so that directs the air through the grill, is what's attached to the radiator here, but it has the same style of squeeze tabs. Now I got the vehicle back in the air, and you can see this is the air duct system that helps vent the air into the radiator and condenser. So if you look right here on the corners, you're just going to squeeze these tabs right here. You'll squeeze it and then pry the radiator inwards away from the air cleaner or air ducting here. And you'll do the same thing on the passenger side here. So you'll just squeeze it right here, and then pry the radiator towards the back of the car a little bit, and then you'll try to keep everything, the air ducting system, pointing towards the bumper. Now I got my radiator kind of separated from it, so you can see where it put. There's also going to be these little rubber grommets. They go right in here, so they're going to want to fall out. So you want to keep track of these. You don't want to lose these. This goes over it, and the radiator sits on top of this. And so if you lose this, it'll be sitting on a metal bracket here, and the radiator will be loose, and you'll have problems. So you want to make sure you don't lose these. And when we go back in, I'll show you where they go. Now you can go ahead and lift the radiator straight up and out of the car. So after matching up our new radiator, make sure everything's correct. The little rubber grommets I told you about, well, they fit in the radiator here, like this. But what we're going to do is we're going to put these back on the frame first. So on the frame back down here, you see the little nipple here, right here. So you're going to put these on there with the nipple side down like that. You can put that on the left and the right side. And any of the hoses or anything that are kind of in your way, just go ahead and move them out of the way. So now what we're going to do is you kind of have to float the condenser and put the radiator back in at the same time. So you want the radiator, those little tabs, to sit on top of these rubber grommets here. So you're going to kind of hold the radiator condenser back like this with one hand and lower the radiator in with your other hand. So now I got the radiator in here, and it's not quite sitting on a little purchase like I wanted to sit, because it's a little difficult floating the condenser and everything. So what I'm going to do is take the condenser, and if you look down at the bottom down here, there is a little ear that mounts on the inside. So you lift the bottom of the condenser to it locks into here, and then you rotate it up like that. So I'm going to go ahead and lift the condenser up, put it and hook it on the bottom, and then once it's hooked on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and put it in and snap it on here and here. So now you can see that I got the radiator leaning inwards a little bit, and now you can see it better. So it mounts, the condenser mounts underneath the this little tab here, and then once you get it lined up, you just push it on here, and the same thing on this corner here. If you can see it down there, it mounts underneath it and then clips on there. And once you got that on there, then you can go ahead and lift the power steering cooler, and you can hook it over the condenser on the top right here, and go ahead and snap that onto place like that on the left and right side. And then you can lift the radiator up a little bit and sit it on top of those little rubber grommets down below. And at the same time, you can push it into the try to push it into the air duct here. Also, another way that may help you when you've got to line up all the depth is if you reach your hand underneath the bumper here and reach around, you can actually feel the duct below, and you can maneuver it with your fingers from below and help line up all the little tabs that are in here. So once you get it lined up in there, you can push it in, and once you get it all lined up, then you can lift the radiator up a little bit like this, and then move it back and sit it on top of those little rubber grommets or below. So after stabbing them back in, I lifted the car back up just to double check to make sure that the radiator is sitting on the grommet, and the grommet's sitting on the little stud that it's supposed to on left and right side. And if it's not, then you can adjust it from underneath. It's easier. I actually found it easier to stab the driver's side one from underneath. So now that that's all secure, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and slip my radiator fan back in, and they just slide down, and you got to make sure that they land on these little perches here on the left and right side of the radiator. And then we reinstall those little clips that we took off. Reinstall these clips to hold it in there, and then we'll plug the fan in. I just slid it back in, and now I'm just going to secure the clips, and you just push them on. Now that the radiator's in, you can go ahead and take all your hoses. If you want to, you can put a little lube on the seals, and then you line up the where they go in, and you just push them. I'm going to start from the bottom one first here, and you can literally just push them in until they clot, and then give them a pull. And if you took the clips out, you can go just put the clips back in. So these hoses will literally you just line them up, and what happens is they'll flare the clip out of the way, and then once it gets past a certain point, they'll lock back into place. So, but I always give them a tug after I'm done, and make sure that they're not going to come back out. So now that you got all the hoses, reconnect it back on. You just double check the clips, like I said, give them a tug, and then remount all the hoses back into their little catches on the fan shroud on the bottom there. Now we're going to tackle that air duct system that went over the top here. So now we're just going to reroute this air duct system back in there, and then remount the little clips on the sides. So when you go to route this side back in, we're going to make sure that the line for the wires for the horn here route on the inside of this plastic cover, and then they come through like this, and then this will loop around like this after you. So once you get it lined up to where you want it, you go ahead and put your clip in here, and then this will loop around the back, kind of like that. So it'll loop around like this. So just what I'm saying, just be careful not to pinch the wires between you. So now it's time to put the core support back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little guys like this right here. I'm going to screw these in so they're flush, so it'll look like this. So this part right here will screw clockwise, and it'll screw into this. And then you're just going to remount it by putting it on left and right side. And then we're going to hook our cable here for our pull handles back onto the little catches here on the inside of the right here. Now that the cable's hooked back up, what we're going to do is we're going to just flip our little rubber grommets, kind of flip them out of the way like this on both sides, like that. And now we're just going to slide it back into place where it goes, and you'll slide these little red things, rubber grommets, into the so you'll slide these little red grommets into the top of the radiator here, and you may have to lift it up and twist it to line it up to the way you want it. So once you get it figured out which way it goes, you'll line it up like that on both sides, and then you'll maneuver the radiator back and forth like this until you line up the bolt holes, and go ahead and start the 3 bolts on the left and right side. Once you got the 3 bolts started on the left and the 3 bolts started on the right, then you can take the 2 bolts that went to this bracket here below and start those bolts. And once you got all the bolts started, then you can just go ahead and tighten them all down. Okay, now that the core support is all bolted up, you can go ahead and take the rubber grommets here and put them back into place, and put the clips back in. And then these little grommets here that you spun out like that, now you can just take them and push them in like that, and that locks everything into place. Now you can take the rubber grommet that you took off here and put it back on, the weather stripping, and just pushes. It just lines up with the groove and pushes on. Now that that's back on, I'm going to lift the vehicle back up and put the lower shields back on and double check underneath and make sure I didn't leave any clips or any of the hoses. I will double check. I'll give the hoses a pull again and make sure they're all connected. So before I put the shields on, I'm going to put this little cover that we took off that went here between the condenser and the radiator on the bottom that sealed the condenser and radiator together. So I'm going to put this back on with the clips that we took off of it, and then so you just line it up with the clips and put it on, and then I'll put the front shield on first and then the back shield on and bolt it all on. And now that the lower shields are back on, now you can go ahead and put your air snorkels back on the left and right side. And then normally I would show you how I would fill the coolant up and bleed the system out. This is a self-bleeding system, but my hose here broke, so I gotta wait until tomorrow to get a hose and a bottle. The bottle actually broke. So what you need to do is you need to fill your car back up with coolant, and it has a level in here. You don't want to overfill it, because if you overfill it, this is what they call an expansion tank. It will the coolant will expand, and there won't have any room to expand in, and the bottle will pop on you, or the radiator you just replace. Fill it up till there's a little hash mark on the inside here. You fill it up to there, start your car and let it run with the air conditioning off, heater off, all that off. Let it run until the thermostat opens up, which is in the upper hose here. And if you want to, you can reach around and you can feel the hose, and you'll feel it get warm. And also you want to run it long enough to the radiator fan comes on and cycles on and off, so you know that everything's good. And then keep readjusting your coolant level as it may drop when the thermostat opens up. And then the only other thing you could do is double check your transmission fluid, because you may have lost an ounce or two when you pulled the lines off on the bottom. And that'll complete the radiator replacement on a 2003 Mercedes E320. I'm Brian Esser from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos. Encourage you to subscribe and invite you to come over to see the website at howtoautomotive.com. Thank you again.